Hey, one thing, note the time change. There's been a gap. Adding this later on. Um, One thing that should be mentioned is that the camera that was hidden in the window, the object that I think was a camera, that has been recently mounted. It was mounted last week, on the 18th, I think, and that camera that was in the window before, I think many students, well, not many, but several, knew that that camera was there because they're in that building. Two students that used to be living in this building moved over to that building, and before them too, another one moved over to that building, and all three of them students were involved in these harassments and these attacks on us. The two students that last moved over, they were involved in computer attacks, evidence suggests, and knowing their character and knowing and watching how they interact, and that they're friends with Fulfley, they were involved in the computer attacks. They at least directly and indirectly, they shared knowledge on how to better the attacks. Both are computer literate people. I know one for sure is claims to know lots about DOS file, claims to know lots about, that's what I call it, claims to know lots about remote Windows administration, remote log, Windows log administration, remote server access, and several other group policies and other such things used in Windows to facilitate attack vectors. And the other guy is from Indonesia. Now, the Indonesian guy, that's important because there's several people from other countries that go to this Bible college, and Indonesia specifically is of interest to the Anglican Church because of its resources, and also because it's by that strait where all the oil goes through, the passage, the waterway, the strait. And Australia has an interest in Indonesia as a resource, and as using as a resource in the future for energy. As an energy customer, they want Indonesia to be a big energy customer, and it's the Anglicans have a massive interest in Christianizing the population. They have a massive amount of money to Christianize Australia, Sydney specifically, but all of Australia. They want to increase the population of Christians in Sydney by 10%, by very soon, like within 10 years. They want to increase the Christian population in Sydney by 10% minimum. I think more than that probably would be better. But they want to do the same thing in Indonesia. They want to convert the Muslim population to Christian. So it's very important to realize that the same guy who is committing these attacks on me has been consolidating information and collaborating with Fulfley, and they have an understanding, and he will be using them techniques. I doubt not. I know for a fact that he'll use these same techniques when he goes back to Indonesia, and he'll use these techniques on people there, maybe even government officials, businesses, to just destabilize the Muslim population so that the Anglican population can establish a foothold on the populace and establish, build a strong foundation with the community. And once a strong foundation is built with the community, they can manipulate the thought process of the people, or more specifically, they can manipulate how people think and what the people believe and the policies that the people accept and follow, control the population, in other words. So that's the future plan by the Anglican Church, and I believe that since the Anglican Church is has such a influence on the Australian government, that this is understood by the Australian government. They may not publicly admit it, but it's just an understood thing that the Australian government wants influence in Indonesia, and a good way to do that has always been to control the religion of the place. So the fact that the Indonesian guy that used to live here was friends with Fulfley that is attacking, and also knows about computers, indicates to me, and since he moved over there, indicates to me that he knew about the camera, he knew what was going on. He, along with several other people knew the camera was there, and many of those people took part in activities of instigation, activities of that were intended to ruffle my feathers or get me excited, and they all did it in the front of our unit within full view of the camera. And in many cases, they actually turned their faces and looked toward the building so that the camera would see them, so that if I did something, it would be very clear that it was their face in the camera and not a stranger. So I think it was deliberate, and I think that all this behavior was deliberately intended to entrap and catch us in behavior that they could use against us to get rid of us, to kick us out of this building, this unit. And don't forget what I said about the Indonesian, because they're going to carry this back to Indonesia, and there's already a guy that used to live here. He's graduated, I think, already, and his plan was to go to Indonesia and church plant. So no doubt he's already over there. He probably knows about these computer attacks, and he might already be utilizing these technologies in Senra and these computer attacks to attack the local population and the local computers to find out information. When I say that, I mean government officials, bankers, business people, stuff like that, maybe high-profile Muslim people, etc. And important people where they can gather information, where they can survey and do reconnaissance, and then later attack. These are really serious issues, and they have to be taken care of. And I still am asking the computer community to please investigate in Senra. This is a really bad computer attack, and I think it's built into the hardware, and I think that people need to be aware of it and start raising their voices to create a computer industry where the hardware itself is secure. There's no point in having secure software if the hardware itself is full of holes and has backdoors into the system. So thank you, and have a good day.